But let's start with the national honors list. Your name was not there. There were persons who said, Sowere should have been here. After all, as a students' union president, you were very active in that June 12 struggle. Even after leaving the University of Lagos, you were in the forefront of the struggle for the actualization of June 12. But your name was not there. They didn't think that you did anything. But you have been going around saying, if my name had been there, I would have rejected it. Which means that the Tinubu team, which means that they were intelligent enough to know that this is a contrarian personality who will not even like to be honored. But they've done it. They've done it. Your name is not there. Okay. You don't need it, you say. Okay. So what's the big issue? You've been on another station saying, I don't need it, I don't need it. Okay. But I think, as your brother, now maybe it would be a nice thing on your CV.
Well, I'm not trying to build my CV on the back of National Honor Award. I am not interested in a national award because I did not fight the struggle that I fought, and I continue to fight because I'm looking for an award. I did it because I want to be free. I want a country where people are free to pursue their desires and aspirations in life. I want a country where people can flourish, not a country where national awards are handed over to people to patronize them. But more importantly, which is a valuable contribution I can make to this, is that a national honor granted anyone is as good as a person honoring the person. And I do not believe some of these men are honorable people.
Okay. But I think it would be nice on the CV. Omoyele Sowere, ON, CON. It would be nice. A nice rank.
If it worked, then the country should be a great place because I remember there was a year that everybody that was a national award, I think it was under Obasanjo, one of this PDP administration, were people of questionable character. So there are a lot of people who have all these national awards that you and I don't remember. I even heard that some people got national award some 12 years ago. They repeated the same award for them this time around.
Like Professor Bolaji Akinyemi.
Yes. So
he has CFR in 2011. They are giving him CFR again in 2025. So you are right on that score.
Maybe they should add a G in front of the CFR just for an upgrade. But I do not need a national award. I don't need it from the government, and I've never sought or asked for an award. Generally, I do not seek, ask, or accept awards. It's just my own personal preference.
Your personal opinion. If they give me, I will have accepted it. I've been Minister of State rank in this country.
Were you ever given an award?
Nobody has given me anything. Even my job as a journalist, I think I'm deserving of a national award. If they give me, I will take it. It will not.
It's not too late.
It will not reduce price.
Maybe for those people who got it 12 years ago and maybe they can give you one of it so that they can remain.
Okay, but generally,
yes.
Beyond you, what do you think of the national awards? The people who have been recognized, because the symbolism of it is that President Tinubu tried to move the June 12 conversation forward. Some people were left out. They recognized some people to remind us of the symbolism of June 12, which I think is important.
Well, I think for some of us, June 12 is not just a symbolic gesture, and you will testify to this. I belong to the category of people who I didn't lose my life, but I did lose a lot. As a student, expelled twice, hounded everywhere, up until this day that I'm sitting in front of you. I don't have an NYSC certificate because we challenged Abacha, where I served in Yola, Adamawa State. Finished my NYSC, I was about to receive the certificate. I was arrested by DSS, kept for 7 days, and that was the end of my career in the NYSC world. It was because of June 12. So, and for us, the struggle for democracy has not ended. So why are we awarding ourselves? I still have issues based on my struggle for democracy. As of 3 days ago in Ondo State, Akure, I was attacked by thugs sponsored by the governor of my state. I'm from Ondo State because I was protesting peacefully on the streets of Akure over June 12, because we had, in my view, a transition from military rule to civilian rule, but not for democracy yet. So maybe for those of us who are still fighting, award is not what we are looking for. We're looking for liberation. We're looking for fundamental shifts in our movement towards progress in the country, particularly democratic progress.
No, what is that fundamental shift about? Is it about the Abiola family saying, look, we need a constructive, real apology from General Ibrahim Babangida to the Abiola family, or the issue about money, that is being owed the Abiola family, or some kind of, general declaration by the Tinubu administration. What, in your view, is the specific
No,
thing you
I think
want?
we must properly situate them contextually. People who are looking for closure might be in the Abiola family. And closure might mean that they want to see their father getting honored, they want to see some kind of closure in terms of how their father died. They might even need inquiry. But for those of us who are still fighting for democracy, which didn't even start on June 12th, our struggle for democracy started as soon as I was a freshman at the University of Lagos, which, by the way, was the first time I met you because you were reviewing Odion Akin's book at the Faculty of Law. I was one of the students in those days that saw you. And that was the day we met you in person. Yes. So, for us, those who are seeking for closure, they're entitled to it. Those who are asking for debt repayment, they're entitled to it. And we had a meeting with Professor Shoyinka yesterday, and he did describe that this is thematic, the award. And he also described that the award for him might be a weapon. That is something he can hold and also throw it back at them if they deviate from his own standard that he expects of them. But for me, the struggle for democracy, the struggle for the betterment of this country is still on. I am not going to look back so that I don't turn to a pillar of salt.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, let me ask you.
Yes.
Let's do an assessment of that list. When you look at the list, what comes to you?
I've not.
Beyond your own personal...
No, I've not seen the list. Let me be honest.
No,
with you.
the list is in the public domain.
Yes, I just haven't seen it. I haven't read the list, but I want to make this clear. I don't want to diminish the people, some of the people I know who are on the list. I cannot, for instance, diminish Ayobe, who was a female that I was standing beside when we were doing 1 million man march in Yaba, and Abacha was doing 5 million. They were shooting at us directly. I can't diminish Falano, who's been my lawyer since 1992 at the University of Lagos when I was first expelled, without whom I may not have ever graduated from him. He's still my loyalty today. Pro bono, by the way. I cannot diminish the role of, I can't diminish Kudirat Abiola, Alex Ibro, and Wole Soyinka, for instance. But I am also entitled and at liberty to decide what I want and don't want in my life. And one of the things I want is liberty. One of the things I do not want is honor done to me by dishonorable people. And that's my position. So I haven't seen the list, but I know that there are a lot of people who embrace the list because for them, like you said, it looks good on their CV. For so many of them, it's validation of their own authenticity or the struggle they fought for. Some of them is just one of their partners remembering that they were together. And there are different levels of the struggle for June 12. There were people who were in exile, there were people who were at home. We were like field people. And I've seen so many student leaders in those days who are complaining that they were not featured, or people complain on their behalf. That is why it came to my attention, because a lot of people kept mentioning my name. They were mentioning Dele Momodu, people like Olusegun Mayegun, who you and I know, very bright, vibrant, student leader of NANS in those days. They said his name was not there. I think Abakoba's name was not even there. No. They almost blinded Abakoba the day we did 5 million man march. Ujudu. I was not there. So there are a lot of names that are not there. But I'm just not the person who is interested in who is there and who is not there. I only address my own part of it for those who might be interested because my name was being bandied around as somebody who should have been there, that I don't need the award. I don't need the national award.
Okay, sure. Let me ask you. 2 years, midterm. We have been discussing midterm and all of that. People have been singing some characters. I've been saying, now our Papa DB, so we don't get another one. Now our Papa BD, so. Monuments have been named after President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I'm waiting for the day they will name Asurok after Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Some imbeciles who think that they have opportunity say that anything can be named after the president. They've even named the International Conference Center after the president, dancing and singing in a demonstration of obvious banality. So, but let's talk results. Do you think that in 2 years, President Tinubu has been able to transform this country? What do you think he needs to do going forward? I don't want you to speak as a partisan politician. Otherwise, they will reduce this conversation to, Sowere, what do you want him to say? Speak as a Nigerian, as a citizen.
So I'm going to speak factually. And I'm also going to speak statistically.
Backed with empirical facts.
Yes.
You know this table.
Exactly.
It's about empirical facts.
So, my own way of judging the regime, metaphorically and empirically, should be looked at from the point of the Lagos-Calabar Highway that was promised to be 700 kilometers and will be done in whatever number of years it should have been done. And in 2 years, only had 30 kilometers completed to be commissioned. And if you look at the percentage of that, you can use that to judge every other thing that has been done in the country. And I want to address very quickly the issue of naming places after the president. I think that in itself is a sign of insecurity, that the people handling the regime or the regime itself is so unsure of itself, it had to be naming monuments after itself when there is nothing happening in the country. There is no reason why anybody who has done well for the country wouldn't wait for monuments to be named after them after they have left. But you know, you and I know this, and you mentioned it, that there's a level of imbecility involved. That's true. And what that means is that even other monuments that have been named after people in this country speaks to the fact that monuments are named after people who have contributed the least amount of progress to the country. And it's just done in a way that have no respect for the dignity of the people, respect for history, and respect for our existence. But, you know, when you look at it now, even Nigeria itself was a monument named after falsehood, Niger area, by a person without integrity, Flora Shaw. So, monument naming is not anything that anybody should worry about, but you made a fundamental statement about how these naming ceremonies come about. They come from a place of shallowness, and I dare say, and repeat, imbecility.
Okay, so if they name Aso Rock after President Bola Ahmed Tinubu tomorrow, you are going to say it's imbecility?
Anybody can name anything they want after anybody. I've stated before, and I'll say it here today for Nigeria, if to become the president of this country, most of the places named after these former Nigerian leaders will be named after trees and probably rivers in Nigeria. We have plenty of them. Because those ones deserve those places to be named after them. At least they are consistent and they contribute to our ecological balance. There are people who contribute nothing. Sometimes I get depressed when I'm driving